When was the last time that you felt absolutely fantastic, excited about life, full of energy, and couldn't wait to get out of bed in the morning? What if you could feel that way again?
I want to feel that energetic again. And hey, this, if you're just getting on, everyone, this is my friend Teri Secrest. We're talking about health. We're going to be talking about essential oils, which are amazing. But do me a favor, press your share button. Let's get this out. We want to talk about health, not just for the next month, but what helps our bodies stay healthy for the longevity of decades ahead. So press your share button. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. I'll have Teri, she'll do it because I love essential oils. And that's and I had actually found out about essential oils from my good friend that Joanne McFatter.
Yes.
And Joanne, at a conference that I was at, we were back in the back room. And Joanne had not really told me a lot. I knew about it, but I remember I was sitting with my friend Stacy Campbell, and I was so sick. I was so sick. I was on antibiotics. I had a throat infection. I couldn't sing. I was supposed to sing. And I was sitting back in the back room with Stacy Campbell, and she does everything, full on. She grabbed some of her, my peppermint? She grabbed some of her peppermint oil. I have it here somewhere. And she puts it in her hand. She puts, I don't know, like 5 drops actually. And somebody said, that's too many. And she just went, and she was like going, oh yeah. And so I grabbed it and I did the same thing. And I did the same thing. And it was like an explosion of clarity in my body. But what happened is I was not that into anything as far as oil. But I'm telling you, this peppermint, it's kind of gross, but I could feel the claws of infection that were around my vocal cords let go. It let go. And within one day, I had my voice back. I was leading worship. I didn't have a fever. And I went to Joanne and said, tell me about this peppermint oil.
Wow.
And I've been sold ever since. So I like to make this turn because it's greatly helped and enhanced my personal health.
Oh my goodness. Wow. We are really reaching out to new people that have not actually been using Young Living essential oils before. So if you're already using them, then that means you already have a support system in place. So we would really appreciate those people that have never used them and don't have that support. Otherwise, we probably won't be able to keep up with all the calls. But if you've never used oils and you're really looking for a good brand, we would love to do that. Again, wellness assessment, no obligation at all.
And then we have a question, what brand of peppermint oil are we talking about? We're talking about Young Living.
Yes, we're talking about that brand. I'm glad you brought that up. Maybe I could share for just a minute the importance of choosing a high quality brand. When we're talking about oils for the human body, it's very, very different than just saying, I want a nice oil to take a bath with. But when we're talking about really supporting the 12 systems of the body that God gave us, He created us with 12 systems like our immune system, hormones, cardiovascular, respiratory system. You only want to use the highest grade essential oil, which we call a therapeutic grade oil. And so I have been working with this brand of oils, Young Living, for 25 years now, and have had an opportunity to test many different brands. This is the brand that I have found gives my clients the best result. And so with a therapeutic oil, you really can't use any pesticides or herbicides or chemicals on the plants. You distill them with a low, very, very low temperature with a very long distillation period. And then there are no additives, chemicals during that process whatsoever. So it's very, very, important, especially when you're dealing with things like respiratory issues. You would never want someone to breathe an oil unless it was pure. And so along those lines, just to demonstrate, here's my frankincense oil, which is one of my all-time favorites, Julie. And so to just really learn how to use an oil in the beginning, you would just take about 3 drops in your hands and just rub your hands together and just breathe. And what happens is that oil will go through the olfactory in your nose to the amygdala region of your brain in just about 3 seconds. And that is the emotional seat of the human body where all emotions are stored. So when we're dealing with a physical problem, we're going to rub the oil right. If you have a sore elbow or something, you're going to rub the oil right where that physical challenge is. When you want to support your emotions, you're just going to breathe them and get them to that part of the brain that where all emotions are stored. And that begins that healing process.
That is so good. Hey, everyone, if you just logged on, this is my friend Teri Secrest. So please push your share button. We're learning amazing things about just supporting our body and health. I love this. Let me ask you another question. Because, well, let me tell you my testimony when we were talking about what brand.
Okay.
I've ordered for my friend Joanne for years. And sometimes I'll just text her and say, I'm having a brain fog. I've got to finish this book. What can I do? And she just has, put this, do this. But like Clarity, there's a oil for Clarity, but when my husband and I were invited to go to it was just something with several, maybe 20 different people, and I was struggling with horrible allergies. I was so plugged, I couldn't breathe. But I was on oils that my amazing husband that I love with all my heart, that he was purchasing. And when I stood behind this girl and I didn't know who she was, and all of a sudden my whole head opened up. Like in 30 seconds of standing right behind her, I could breathe. My ears popped. It's like my eyes quit burning. And there was such a difference that immediately I turned to my husband, Walt, and I said, "What brand of oils have you been buying?" Well, it turns out that he loves the deal, and he had been buying the very cheapest possible, and he said you can actually get them now at a certain name brand store. And so this gal in front of us hears us talking, and she turns around, and her name was Charnel. It's Charnel, who is very, I don't know how you say it, high up in the Young Living Essential Oil Corporation. And I said, those are the oils that work. What you're buying did nothing. I'm sick. But in a second, my eyes weren't burning. My ears unplugged. I don't even know if I would have believed it unless I personally experienced this.